Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back on the pay to win account. We're going to go ahead, we're going to make some progression in here, and I want to set up the formations. We can run through, we can do all of our dailies. And this is honestly the easiest way to do it. A lot of players ask how I make progression in here and how I do kind of on a consistent basis. It's very easy. So if you load up AFK Arena, you go ahead, you get whatever stage you're in, whatever tower progression you're looking for, anything you're looking for, we can set it up. And I did set my team in here. I want to run through really quick. The first one is the Awakened version of Belinda. Now, utility-wise, not seeing as much usage in a lot of different game modes, but when it comes to campaign, she is absolutely still one of the big one that dominates. And then we do have Demia in here, and we also do have Lavatoon in here. This is an old formation that we've actually seen for quite a bit. Formation number 2, again, a little bit interesting with the Awakened version of Athelia. Still running the twins in here. We have instant crowd control up here from Amelia. The number 3 in here is going to be the Thoren cheese. Now, if you're unfamiliar, when you start getting into very, very high level deficiencies, Thoren still works exceptionally well. There is a really big RNG factor with both the Thoren cheese and also with the Mahira combination. But this one is actually the 5 pull. So you have the combination of the original version of Iran and you have Skriath pulling all of these heroes together. Thoren with the retaliation ability, which works incredibly well. Like we said earlier, here is the other super high RNG formation we see with Mahira and the Mesmerize ability. And then the 5th one in here does have Shamira in here, and we do have Envy in here. So very easy to get through. So when I come in, I go ahead and I set this on auto battle. We just go ahead and back out of this or go anywhere else. And we're just going to let the campaign run. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to go through, we want to run through everything else while the campaign just runs on itself, making it very early so we can do the bounty board, we can do everything else we need to. And again, those campaign formations are just going to run when we're doing everything else. What's going on, guys? So Soul is here. Looks like Drunk GI. Darren is here. The Swirls, The Dream, John, and Vince is here. When does the new patch go live? So as of right now, it is Sunday my time. Tomorrow will be the patch notes. So tomorrow on Monday will be the global notes. Tuesday will actually be the patch of the drop of the actual patch. So in 2 more days, the patch is going to go live. Now that will bring it, if you remember, guys, it is going to bring the new Wilder hero, which seems like he is going to be very, very strong with the buffing, the debuffing, everything else the hero does in there, in addition to the Awakened Beast. Now, when it comes to the Awakened Beast, I know this was a point where, and really a point of contention for a lot of different players, is from my understanding, the way that those, it's D-R-U-K, drunk, G-I. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, but looking here, like I was saying with the beast, it's going to be interesting because the methodology or the logic behind these beasts itself is, from my understanding, that the beast is going to go to level 18. Did it test the Awakened Beast? I didn't, because the Awakened Beast is going to be built, and again, from my understanding, based on level, meaning if you're at Beast Resonance 18, when the Awakened Beast comes on Tuesday, you are going to get the Beast at level 18. If you want to take the Beast past level 18, so once we get to that point, you are no longer going to use the baits that we have right up here, and you're not going to be able to summon the Beast, from my understanding, within the wish list itself. You are going to have to use the other or the secondary, those wishing leaves to get the Beast past level 18. So it's cool because you're going to be able to resonance the beast to essentially that level 18. But as we've seen, I believe there are 36 levels of abilities within that beast. So it's going to be kind of crazy with the beast. But again, if you're at Beast Resonance, and we've seen it over on the test server, I was on Beast Resonance 6. I think it was 6 on the test server. And we did get the beast up to level 6 just because it when we built the beast, or when we got the beast, it gave us all of those resonance copies up to level 6. Like I said, it's going to do the same to 18. If you want to go above and beyond 18, it's going to require additional copies that are through the summoning methodology. I think 18 through 36 will eat the bait to level up. I didn't think it was the bait, Finn. That was from my understanding, was I didn't think 18 to 36 is going to be the bait to level up, or is it going to use a certain amount of bait like what we have here? In that case, we should definitely save it to level up. I thought you had to get the additional copies through those wishing leaves that we had in there. Someone hadn't reached Resonance 18. Is Fable Beast useless for us? No, it will not be. And the thing is, with the Fabled Beasts coming out with the Awakened Beast, if you have Beast Resonance 6, if you have, like I said, 9 or 12, you're going to get the Awakened Beast at that level, just like we did over there. So 1,200 baits per level and 6 copies. My understanding is that need baits and beast copies to build the new beast. Oh, so you're going to need both? So if we're going to need baits and beast copies to build them, and again, I know over on the test server, we can't really look at it. We can't really test it because we don't play over there. So I got beast resonance. And again, I believe on the test server over to 6, but we haven't made it or pushed any further. So there we go. So you need both of them. That's going to be tough. So if you need both of them, is it going to be, yeah, so lucky to save the baits. Again, we've been saving the baits because we have 9,000 here. It's going to be interesting. What's going on, Hyped? Yeah, I used some of mine a little while ago. They've been sitting here, so save your baits right now if you do need them, or you are going to need them essentially to level it up itself. I want to see what it looks like when it comes up on global. We'll cover it Tuesday when it does release because again, over on the test server, I can look through everything, but I can't really test it to any means because we don't have enough resources. We don't have anything over there. How will the new Awakened Beast? So the big thing with the Awakened Beast is when you go in there, and what's going on, Woolen? What is happening? The big thing with the base, they sell baits 1,000 for 300 million gold. We're at 21 billion. So we might have, and I'm gonna have to see what that looks like, Finn. But the Awakened Beast, the biggest thing for those is the Golden Frontier. Now, if you're unfamiliar, and I don't think even any of the events show it here, is the Vault of Time is right around the corner. And again, thinking of kind of an AFK game, it's kind of crazy because when you think of what we have going on, so we have the Nightmare Corridor, we have the Twisted Realm, we have the Cursed Realm, we have the Temporal Rift, we have the Vault of Time that's coming up. Golden Frontier is already coming, so I believe the Golden Frontier, the Vault of Time are going to be overlapping. So thinking again of the amount of time and effort that you're going to have to put into AFK Arena, there's going to be a lot of game modes, and I don't think they should run the Golden Frontier in conjunction with the Vault of Time, but they have said that the Golden Frontier is going to be on a repeat, so we're going to be seeing it like every 30 days. It's just going to kind of reset, which is going to be interesting to see because if they go in there, again, it's going to be a lot to do within AFK Arena. If you're running multiple accounts, if you're wanting to put in the time and effort to really play, I feel like it's going to be a big difference that's coming with the Vault of Time being up. And of course, the Vault of Time, if you're not familiar, guys, we can discuss it for just a minute. So with the Vault of Time, they have adjusted the boss's HP. So it seems like right now, and I know a lot of Reddit and Discord users have kind of talked about this, when it comes to the Vault of Time and when it comes to the beast or the final boss within the Vault of Time, with the lower HP, it seems like it's literally going to be a race to kill the boss as soon as possible. So it seems like it's not going to be like a slow kind of build through. If you want to be in, the top 10, top 20, top 100 to get those frames, that it is going to be an all-out race from day one, meaning when the Vault of Time releases, we hop in there the second it comes up. We take everything we can. We line up the bosses. Even some guilds at that point are strong enough to kill the gate bosses with no relics or really just 1 or 2 relics in there. It's going to be kind of crazy. Golden Frontier takes too much time. Yeah, and I really feel like I agree with you, Finn. With an AFK game, with everything that we have going on in AFK Arena, I feel like it really does take an incredible amount of time when you're going in there. If you're strategizing with everything, it can absolutely take just a very high amount of resources, a very high amount of time to go in there. And the thing to remember though is with the Golden Frontier is if your resources are lost. So let's say for instance, you have a resource node and you lose that resource node. Unfortunately, you have to go back into the Golden Frontier and reacquire or move your heroes within those resource nodes. So if you're not going in there on a regular basis, it can be incredibly difficult to go in there and get and use pretty much everything you need. just for the fact that, again, you do lose a lot of those resource nodes, and you can also get kicked out of there if they take one of the resource nodes. There's a lot that goes on within there that requires you essentially to go back and play it on a regular basis, because because of how the game mode is. If you're losing those resource nodes, if you want to maximize your resources, you have to go in there a couple times again per day and make sure those resource nodes are not gone. I think I have about 1 billion gold. I don't know where it came from. Yeah, it just really accumulates hyped, because even over on my free to play account, and here again, we could go baits. Ooh, that's a tough one. Let me know, Finn. What do you think? Because if we know all of these baits are going to be required for the new beast, does it make sense? But I know we need Poke Coins forever. We really do. If they incorporate the new mode for Golden Frontier from companions, there'll be even more. New mode is the Shadow Realm. Oh, is it? That is crazy. What's going on, Shooty? Yeah, I know the Golden Frontier, and I believe, and I know Shooty would know, I believe this is like the 7th or 8th iteration of the Golden Frontier from companions. We did the first 4 iterations. I think it was the first 4 iterations of the Golden Frontier, all the beta testing over on companions. It was super, super interesting. And I think in here, I think I'm going to go with the Poke Coins. There are so many heroes, and you know what? We could buy the bait one in there too. But let's go ahead. I'm going to pick this one up. Poke Coins, I know. Yeah, I thought it was the 8th, if I remember correctly. And if you've seen over there, it's really going in there. There's a lot of game modes. There's a lot of different places within AFK Arena that it is incorporated into in its entirety as it is right now. So the Golden Frontier is actually part of this bottom little scroll bar where the Golden Frontier is in there, all of the point, which is awesome. Yeah, I'm happy and super happy that they're giving us something to do with gold. I mean, this has been such a joke for currency forever. I know earlier game, it's a little bit more challenging, a little bit more difficult. But overall, even there's another 100 baits, another 3,100. Did pick up some extra resources out of there. Now, I know a lot of players were also wondering about Skriath. If you caught the last video, now we have built the Awakened version of Skriath. We did build him out very, very basic. And looking at the optimal build in here, yeah, 21 billion gold is going to last FHG five months to buy bait. That is going to be awesome. That's going to be cool. Like I was saying though, with Skriath, is the minimum build or the recommended build for this hero as it sits right now is a 30960 for kind of an optimal build, but also looking at a 40966. Now remember, it's a little bit more unique when it comes to the Awakened heroes, because if you see, I don't have furniture on here, and we only have the basic, the plus 30 engraving, which means we're missing right here. This is the plus 40 signature item. We're missing all of the skills. This is one of the big ones where I feel we're going to have to see what it looks like. But without him being built, and without any of the Awakened heroes in general being built, you're not going to have the ability. You're missing all of the skill set in here. Skriath increases his damage or magic pierce and critical damage amplification based on Dune charges. Level 2 increases the Dune charges. The furniture is an absolute requirement. If you want the Awakened version of Skriath to do damage, you have to. When is the update? Cheesy, it is in 2 days. We have 2 more days and the update will drop. I know a lot of people are waiting for it. Yeah, if I got 21 billion, it'll last 5 months. That's not including the addition of getting more gold in there, which is going to be awesome. Yeah, two more days in there. 2 more days, and then we'll see what it looks like. Would you go for him? So the big thing, Raul, is if you think, would I go for him or would I go for the Awakened version of Estrilda? Honestly, Raul, I would build Estrilda. Now, the reason being, when you look at Estrilda, she kind of plays a multitude of roles. In some of the formations, she is the best in slot damage dealer. In some of the formations, we are seeing her kind of as the damage booster. So kind of playing a support role. I do like it in here. I feel like her utility is a lot higher. And I also feel like her utility is going to work in a lot more places than we see like the Awakened version of Skriath. That's the reason why I do really like the Awakened version of Estrilda. is we know where she's being used. We know how she's being used. Even with the iterations we're seeing right now, she is going to continue being used, again, as a primary damage dealer or kind of as a buffer. Right now with Skriath, the thing that we do not know, or that is kind of a little bit of the question mark, is when you look at him, we've only ran and we've only had him for 2 weeks, meaning we haven't seen all the iterations of the Cursed Realm, the Nightmare Corridor, which I don't think will be used at all, but also the Treasure Scramble. We haven't seen all the iterations of exactly where and how this hero is going to be used. We're starting to see him in the Cursed Realm. He is showing up in formations. Treasure Scramble, we are also seeing him in formations. And again, Nightmare Corridor, I don't think that we're going to see him in there, which is unfortunate. Any more Peaks of Time coming? I feel like this is a place where they forgot or they're not going to. So Peaks of Time, and if you look right here, the Forgotten Mine, this was one of the very first voyages that we had. So when this says coming soon, this has probably been about 4 to 5 years of coming soon. When they added the Wandering Balloon, again, this was old Peaks of Time adventures that we ran. Again, coming soon right here has been years at this point. I mean, it has been years since we've gotten the Gold Rush. Prelegad, this, of course, is not going to go anywhere. I don't think anything's ever going to come here or coming soon, just for the fact that these are class specific. And then here, again, Shadow Invasions came out about 3 or 4 years ago at this point. I wonder where it's going to be. Strilda doesn't do that much damage in Nightmare Corridor, scaling with healing. Does a lot of healing. And that's it. So that's what I'm kind of thinking, Finn, is looking at Estrilda. She has a lot of utility. Being able to damage and being a damage dealer in some formations, scaling with the healing, again, and then looking at doing a lot of healing, doing the shielding aspect. There's a lot of utility in there. I wonder who will be the Awakened Wilder. That is a massive, massive question, guys. So thinking in here, and it's a really good question on who is going to be coming next, because we know we do have the 3 right now. And thinking even down here, is it going to be like a Respin? Are they going to do kind of an off hero that not a lot of people used? PvP wise, he was really good for a while. And I'm trying to think almost kind of who could fit in the story. I would love to see Tassie. I think Tassie would be very, very cool to see. Has there been any testing done with the new Wilder? Not really hyped. Not really on there. Yeah, I thought maybe Lorzen. I thought Tassie might kind of work into it. Could be a Lorzen. Who knows? Even like a Namora. It doesn't seem like they're going back to a lot of the very, very basic heroes overall. Again, it's going to be interesting to see. In Graveborn, I would love to see, and I know a lot of people have talked about Isabella, if they went ahead and they built out Isabella, or I would love to see Pharrell. I think Pharrell would be an absolute pivotal hero if you added a lot more of the crowd control that he offers and a couple other things. And then, of course, a lot of people have said Oden. They would love to see the Awakened version of Oden. He's another one that is really, really pivotal through a lot of different content in there. Reddit says that it's Lorzen. Might be because of the special dialogue that was posted on Reddit. Might be Lorzen. I mean, Lorzen would be pretty cool. It's time for Dref. That would be just absolutely epic, guys. If they went in here and they actually did the Dreef, which we know has been, and it would be awesome to see an Awakened version of Dreef, just as a very, yeah, I think Tassie, that's the one that I kind of like, Shooty. I think I like that one. I think it would be, can I change my email to my account? Not that I'm aware of. Does he, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What about the Awakened Greyborn? Again, there's a few different choices in here when it comes to the Greyborn. I feel like they wouldn't use any of the newer Greyborn. And of course, looking at this year, even last year, not a lot of new Greyborns. I mean, I don't know if they do like a Cyrus or a Desira or a Silas, just as kind of the support aspect, knowing we got the Mage, knowing we got the Warrior. Are they going to do another support hero? Could we see a support Wilder? Could we see a support Graveborn? That would be very interesting to see. I know it's early, but Awakened Skriath is so annoying because Lilith doesn't give some lifesteal for him. He's good at my Treasure Scramble, but survivability sucks. Yeah, long we've seen that with a lot of them, is there has been a lot of issues with survivability. I mean, think about the awakened version of Era, or excuse me, of Lucius right here, even looking at the awakened version of Iran, even looking at Antandra, the more awakened heroes, and we're seeing it a lot more, that the ability or the survivability with the heroes is not there. They're dying very, very quick. I don't know if that's subject because of the power creep, because heroes are getting so much stronger, but it seems like a lot of the newer awakened heroes, like I think of like Brutus, or even a couple ones, they were really, really hard to kill in a lot of different game modes. And it seems like as we continue going, they're dying out super fast. Cassie already has the skin. Honestly, the skin's not really that big of a thing. Awakened Peanut, that would be epic if they went with a star and did an awakened version of a star. That would be pretty cool. If you guys are unfamiliar, this hero was pivotal for an incredible amount of time as a damage dealer, as a support hero, as the damage mitigation. A star was awesome. I need the yes, Finn 100%. If I had the ability to reset, this is going to be the hero that I will reset, because I built her out massively. We even added more furniture on there, but you can see we have the E80. This is one absolutely that was way, way overbuilt. And honestly, the super short amount of utility that we had with this hero was kind of crazy. I would love to see a reset or a swap with her. Absolutely, I would love it. Yeah, Awakened Isabella. And it seems like, again, with the newer heroes, putting in, the damage to everyone on the board, but in addition to putting a lot of just kind of crazy abilities out there, like the cheat death. It seems like almost everyone has cheat death. And I think it's so funny in here, and I don't know if you guys seen it. When Skriath runs, it's so funny because when he does like the weird kind of run in combat, it's, and I don't know if I go back in here, it looks so weird because he doesn't move when you're actually using him, but every now and then the animation will be him kind of like skittering on his legs. And also looking at the cartoon, he has another arm. So I don't know why when they did the actual like comic strip version of him, there he goes running. It's so funny looking when he runs because he doesn't run. I still use Antandra in the campaign, but she really needs the ice beast. Yeah, and that's at cap. So you can get stop chatting, go push towers so we wouldn't find with the next awake. Oh, I mean, we have enough for the next awake, and I think we're pretty good on that front. I'm thinking we got through 52. This is probably Thoren cheese, which it is. As again, this is such a nightmare going through here with getting the Thoren cheese to work. First ones are usually easy. The Thoren cheese is where it gets stuck. Let me make sure that he has the right equipment, because in here, if you leave these on him, chances are he's not going to do a lot of damage. You could even put the Zealot chest in here if you wanted to, but making sure again that this is kind of all set. Look at that. That is what we run in here. So we should be able to go through there and finish out this campaign formation. So Thoren cheese I've used through all of AFK Arena. And this used to be one of the absolute most important pivotal formations, is with the Thoren cheese, is when you were running the King's Tower. The King's Tower is where he was broken, and why they put in the power caps within the King's Tower was because you could go ahead and do the Thoren cheese. You could macro it, because back then we didn't have an auto battle, and you could go through and just literally run this forever until it worked. Sometimes it takes 1 or 2 attempts. Sometimes it's 30 to 40. Sometimes we have seen it take thousands of attempts to actually work, which is kind of crazy. Let me hop out of here, guys. And I want to do a couple summons. I know we have quite a few scrolls. We haven't done any summons on here in a little bit. Let me do the fast rewards. And I got to use my Po coins. Po coins in here are something that we need 100%. We have just kind of waited and waited to get those Po coins. Big shout out to Lith for letting me borrow some heroes. That's why Leviathan and Alna Albedo are really good for Treasure Scrum. Yeah, absolutely hyped. It is the survivability in there that we're looking from those heroes. And anytime that you can add in that survivability aspect, it will work. Leviathan, I am happy. And if you guys didn't catch the video, Leviathan is finally done. We got him to the 60. We got him to a 40. Got all of his furniture out of there. And Leviathan is probably one of the most pivotal Draconic heroes that we've seen in a while. I love his utility. He went into that SSS tier, so went into that very top tier, still doing incredibly well in there. Yeah, don't collect the weeklies. And because we know there's more rewards coming, you want to make sure that you're waiting to get those rewards. Let's pop open these stones. I have a couple chests in here, a couple other things. Out of here, we need awakened heroes. When it comes to the regular heroes itself, we have everyone built, even looking at the new Mauler we got. We do have her all the way built to 1-star. We're waiting to get the new Wilder hero in addition. Yep. The weeklies reset again on Tuesday. Let's pop these open. Come on, awakened hero. It is. Nope, just garbage. So all of those will be recycled. Here we're looking for celestials or hypos. Don't really need anything else. And we get a bunch of stuff that we're going to recycle. Double copies of Skriath in there. So unfortunately, summon-wise, nothing we're going to use out of the stones. It's all just going to come in the Temple of Ascension, and we're just going to recycle all of these. I wish there was a point that we needed more of those heroes in its entirety. Yeah, I think will it reset with the patch? I know they've done it before. I use just 5 Draconic heroes when I see the Thoren cheese. Oh, it always works. So you just let the Draconic heroes die out of there. Yeah, I wonder are they resetting it? I didn't know if they would reset it. Shouldn't the next Awaken be a Greyborn during the Halloween event like it's been the last 2 years? It might if they do it out of order. We might see a Greyborn. My thought is it'll probably be and traditionally over the last little bit of time, we have seen a Mauler drop and then an Awaken Mauler, or we have seen a Wilder drop like we're seeing this week and then Awaken. But it also looks like there is going to be there's going to be a Celestial hero built in the mix. Now, wishlist, again, we have nobody in here. I think this is the only one that we literally have to do. They were talking about making sure there's more heroes in there, but I'm just going to leave her because I'm not really too worried about it. We could save these until we get the new hero, but honestly, I'm going to go through and use them anyways. We're looking for Celestials, Hypos, and then the Awakened heroes in here. Chances of getting a one-off hero are almost slim to none, so I'm not too worried about it. Was there any testing with the new Wilder? Nope, I did not hype. I didn't hop over there and try him out in the trios. I could actually do that. I know a lot of players were saying they were happy as could be that it was a bug, that he actually rides a bug. And there we go, guys. There's another one. So as we add more copies on there, boom, and a copy of Theowen. We'll leave the card in there, and we'll also save those scrolls. See if maybe, can we get an Awakened hero in here? That would be awesome to see. And even over on the free-to-play account, we have not seen an Awakened hero in a long, long time, which is kind of unfortunate. But it just seems like it's really the time that it's not working. I recently built Skylin over Leviathan, which was a bad choice probably, but I enjoy him a lot. He does a lot of damage. So the big thing is if you built Skylin over there, honestly, Skylin will work incredibly well. And if you built Skylin, you can always merc Leviathan or vice versa, where if you built Leviathan, you can merc Skylin like what I do. As long as you have them for really the Nightmare Corridor and for that for the Cursed Realm, it will work. Unfortunately, you can't use them for the Treasure Scramble, but it's pretty interesting. Should Awakened Dimensional be added? I don't know what it would look like with the methodology to actually get the hero itself. Oh, look at that. Congratulations, guys, 30,000. So we have 586 right there. We're already at almost 400. So again, if we get another Awaken, we'll have plenty of resources in there using and getting 2 of these cards every single day. I feel like we'll have more than enough cards by the time the next Awaken comes, just getting them. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. That would be interesting if they did an Awaken Dimensional, which again, they could. I don't know, again, the methodology behind getting the Awaken Dimensional, if it would be a lot more difficult or anything like that. Because even then, I would love to see if they did an Awaken Dimensional, if they took King Arthur. I would love them to make an Awaken version of King Arthur. That is just an absolute beast. Would be awesome. It would be awesome to see where, you know, when he pulls Excalibur, it just kind of goes crazy. It'd be cool. I think it would be really cool. Yeah, there we go. I would love to see the Dimensional Tower. That would be And honestly, guys, if they added a dimensional tower and a draconic tower, it would be awesome. It would be very, very cool. Let me set one of these to go because we'll go through, we use all of our pull coins. I haven't been farming the towers as much as I normally do, just for the fact we've been doing and running a lot over on the free-to-play account, but I want to let this battle, like I said before, this is the easiest way, guys. Set up the auto battle. We will literally just let the auto battle run. We'll hop over, we'll do everything else we need to while this runs automatically. Don't have to worry about it, just going ahead and letting it run. Waking Dimensionals would be like companions where you summon spirits for them. Yeah, I mean, that's how they'd have to do it. But again, it's hard because now, again, you're cutting so many resources. That's where I feel like we're not getting resources fast enough to substitute or to really cover the heroes that we're getting. And again, that's where I feel like we're getting overrun, or our resources are really getting split between a bunch of different game modes and a bunch of different things because we can't generate enough resources, because now we got to choose between the red chests or getting the baits or getting the cores or getting the staffs or getting, this or that. I feel like they need to give us more resources, or an ability to generate more resources to keep up with the demand of all of the new heroes in the entirety. That's where players get kind of disappointed and they fall behind. They really do fall behind. Maybe Jinwoo and Rimuru would be super cool. Oh, both of them awakened. Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. I wish they had a dimensional tower. Yes, you and I both. The dimensional towers. And I know the dimensional tower was a topic of conversation years ago, and nothing ever became of it. There was talk that it was in the game code. We had seen, a couple different things. And unfortunately, the dimensional tower never came into realization, which was the exact same with tier 5 gear. So when they added tier 3, tier 4, they also added in a tier 5 gear, which again, looking at all of our gear, tier 5 gear never made it yet into AFK Arena. I feel like there might be a point where tier 5 gear does get added. As of right now, it is not in there. Yeah, they need to do something with the towers. And again, they need to do something to kind of get away from some of the repetitive aspect, I guess. Like when you're going in here and you're farming all of these same towers kind of over and over and over again, it is a lot of just the exact same thing, a lot of the exact same repetitive nature of the game, which I know some of it is kind of by design, but coming out with a couple new game modes, coming out with a couple new things, like literally new things that are not power creep, but maybe a new event to generate resources like the Golden Frontier. They could do a couple really cool things in here to get players engaged. Looking to ease someone, Sun Jin Woo, Telemar, or Skriath. Awaken Skriath. That's easy, Christopher, because one, it's required, and two, that's going to be his skills and abilities right here. And I might even wear I don't have enough resources. I think we're pretty, we only have 1,000 in there. We've literally been going kind of line by line by line getting these. I need to get more of my elemental cores to finish out. And again, we're starting to really fall behind on some of these heroes, falling behind on some of the content because we haven't been putting as much money into AFK Arena that we did once upon a time. We've really scaled back to about $50. I think about $50 a month that we still been using in here. But again, I feel like some of it we've just kind of scaled back. We've gotten quite a few more red chests because I chose them out of the shop this time, out of the store this time. So there's another 120, brings us to about 1,100. But again, I feel like I'm falling behind on some of here. Rimuru would be super good with his void powers. Yeah, and that's it. So Rimuru, they gave us a pretty basic version of. Even looking at, I know Sun Jin Woo, again, another hero they gave us a very, very basic version of. If they had a way to awaken their powers or something of that nature. But again, that's going to be a whole nother power creep aspect which would be in there, which would be kind of crazy. What's going on, Setix? And Muhammad is here as well. People are asking about new dimensionals coming to the Garrison. When Lilith hasn't added Sheltier. So they will, so looking at where we got the two, within, there we go. So we did pick up, thank you, Sour, or Mesmer, if Mesmer's on here. They should be coming shortly. So this is a point, and I have not gotten an answer back from Lilith yet. is when it comes to the 2 new dimensional heroes, or the latest ones, we also do have 2 that we're waiting to see. Now, if you remember, that is Marcio and Laios. Neither of these have been added into the Garrison as it sits right now. Just what Gory was talking about. These 2 have not been added. Now, traditionally or historically, when you look at AFK Arena and adding heroes into the Garrison, it is roughly 5 to 6 months after release. So when you think about them, Sheltier, I don't think is ever going to be coming to the Garrison. Again, that is a question that I've asked a couple times. I have not gotten an answer about Sheltier never coming to the Garrison, why she did or if she is or anything like that. But thinking of Marcio and Laios, both of them should be within probably the next, I think around a month, that we should be them added into the Garrison like we've seen traditionally. They have to be coming pretty soon. And then, of course, a lot of players were also questioning, and a question that I get honestly almost every single day is, when are we going to get the 2 new heroes, Sun Jin Woo and Shahan? When are they coming into the Garrison? Again, it's about 5 to 6 months. Wasn't it always like 6 months in between? Yeah, we've seen some that were a little bit earlier hyped that didn't wait that 6 months that we've seen. We've seen some again that were a little bit less than that 6 month period. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just based on rotation, based on the release. But when we even think of like Sun Jin Woo, we're like 2 months. So they have another 4 months till they come into the Garrison. And then I believe we have about another month, because it wasn't too long before that we did pick up Laios and Marcio. I don't think it was that long ago. We finished out 1 floor in here, and this, sometimes the formations do not work. Sometimes it will farm the formation kind of over and over and over again. Even looking in there, they're using the Thoren cheese. I am not going to use the Thoren cheese for my level for where we're at. Some of the formations, again, they will run through 10, 20, 60 floors. Some of them will not run at all. Best SI40, Lysander, Laios, or Randall. Randy's not used in a ton of different places. Laios and Lysander, let me see where they do fall, because I know Lysander, and I believe he does pretty well with the 40. Again, recommended for him is the plus 40, and looking at Laios is only recommended a plus 30. So out of those 3, thinking of Lysander, Laios, and Randy, probably Lysander would be the best to go for that 40. Again, based on tier list, based on utility wise, the 40 in here is pretty good, and we're seeing him used in a lot of different places. Yeah, Laios, like I said, they recommend the 30. Not a ton of places to where Randy's being used right now. I think they should add more control during combat, like AFK Journey. That would be pretty cool. That would require a major update or overhaul, but yeah. Thoren, what's the best build for him to run the cheese? So the cheese is a 309. So if you're looking at Thoren, the only thing that he wants, and we're talking about the original one for the Thoren cheese, the plus 30 signature item gives him a second time to retaliate, which is good. The furniture does help him a little bit. When you build this, it gives him a little bit more energy. Do not engrave him. There is no reason. And I engraved him when engraving came out. That is how old and how way back he was engraved. But do not engrave him. You want him to take damage, and that is by design. That is by build. That is by design. You want him to take damage. Again, plus 30 signature item. Then the item 9 furniture is really where you want to build them or where you want to have them at. And that's really all that you need. Let's do the furniture summons in here. We got 44,000 poke coins. I know I'm not going to wait for the Wilder, because looking at the wish list itself, we need a lot of furniture on a lot of heroes. We keep swapping heroes out, adding more heroes in. But as it sits right now, I mean, we have 6 heroes that don't even have the 9 of 9 furniture, including that awakened version of Skriath, which utility-wise kind of puts him way down the utility list, just because, again, he's missing those skills and abilities. So let's go ahead and use all of these poke coins. And poke coins never end. There is no point in AFK Arena where the poke coins are going to be complete or done. There we go, a copy for Skriath. Want to get him at least that 3 of 9 to unlock some more of those abilities. but any that we can get, there's another copy. And look at that, back-to-back furniture, which is a copy for Shahan. Triple furniture, guys, for Skriath again. Look at that. That is awesome. Is cheese available in companions? I don't think so. I don't think the Thoren cheese, because you can't do the 5-pull in there either. I have a weird feeling that the latest dimensional might not come to the Garrison due to the weird contracts. It could be 4 in a row for furniture, guys. Look at that. That is streamer luck. That is absolutely epic for the furniture. We needed to catch up a lot of furniture, and that will do it. If we're getting 4 mythic pieces in a row, that catches it up very, very fast. Free-to-play players don't get enough Poke coins. No, like I said, there's no point that you get enough, that you can get enough of those Poke coins. It's incredible. We have 3 on there. These we're going to go ahead and recycle because we're not really going to use them. Wishlist wise, let's equip what we just picked up, because this is going to be a big build. So Skriath gets the 3 of 9 furniture in there. Even Shahan, I think I'm going to finish her out to the 9 of 9. Even there, we go from 3 to 5 furniture on there. That is a pretty good build. Now, should I go for Skriath or should I finish out Shahan? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I always go to pity on furniture. I usually do. I usually do. That's why I was super stoked when we got that. Even Alvita still needs furniture. Sunjin Wu, I know we just got to the 3 of 9 furniture. Umbriel, I don't even think is being used anywhere, but he's sitting in there just kind of waiting to build. Finish out only 2 more. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, because when we finish her to that 9 of 9, we can even drop her out, and then put in the new Wilder hero as we continue to build them out. But that way we do have that 9 of 9 furniture finished for her. And again, furniture, guys, there's no point when it's done, even going above and beyond that 9 of 9. But there we go. She is done there. Even upgrading the furniture, looking at the upgraded furniture of Marcio. Those are all maxed. We're continuing to upgrade this one. And the same with the Strilda, just going through. We already got all of that maxed. And we're building, let me see which one we're building in here, because this is going to increase the health, which is going to be pretty good in there. The second one is the crit damage resistance. I'm going to go for the health in here. There we go. So a little bit more health in there. So a little bit more furniture. One more on the table, which again, we're going to save unless we got someone to a 3 of 9 or a 9 of 9, which we don't. We could go 7, 4, 5, 6, 6. Nope, I'm just going to save that. I am just going to save that right now for what we have with the recommended furniture. Yeah, burns through all of our Poke coins. But look at the amount of furniture, guys. It's kind of crazy. We're at 1,265 and then 99 of the max furniture out. So again, building all of these heroes out in the entirety. Even have 136,000 diamonds that are just kind of chilling right there to see what's going on. I have about 600 Draconic cards, and as a Highborn Draconic, I only have Hildwyn. Gwen, recommend me to ascend someone. I would wait to see. Honestly, if you're already sitting on them, I mean, you could go in, you could build Leviathan. Since you have Hildwyn, since you have Gwen, I would probably build Leviathan before Lan at this point, just because we're starting to see less of a utility within Lan, just for the fact that the hero is being replaced by some of the newer support heroes in different places. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. How's the new Wilder looking? Seems like he's pretty good. Honestly, when I looked at the new Wilder, he doesn't have a lot of damage, and I don't feel like they built him for damage. Again, I'm going to test him later tonight, but I don't feel like they really built him for damage. I feel like they built him as kind of buffer, debuffer. Even the shielding aspect in there, I feel like he has a lot more defensive utility than we're seeing anywhere else with the new one. So we should take Lysander to plus 40. He's not the top priority, but he is a decent priority in there. He really is a decent priority in there for Lysander. And I know for me, I built him out earlier. We built him out on a 40 even before we knew exactly how he was going to be. When an allied pawn transforms into a knight, all other allied hero gains the inspired effect. If a hero is already inspired, duration of the buff is refreshed. So again, if you're looking to min-max things within AFK Arena, the plus 40 on him will work pretty well. And honestly, I didn't think we would see him as many places as we do right now. He's being used in every game mode. He's still in that SS tier, so still in the top tier. Yeah, still does work. So he has supporting. Yeah, that's what he's kind of like, Spams. He is very similar when it comes to like a support tank. Again, they're not making him like a pure warrior, like a damage dealing warrior. Like some of the ones that we've seen in the past. He's more of the support tank aspect of a lot of it. And that's what we're seeing around him. It's not super aggressive, which his ability is continuous damage, but there is a lot of the support in there. And honestly, with him being a regular Wilder hero, I'm going to drop him in here. I'm saving my diamonds right now, but I'm going to go in the Noble Tavern. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to drop him right in here. This will give me 8 copies, taking him up to Ascended. And then we'll test him out. We'll see exactly where he goes from there. But again, I feel like it's pretty interesting on the build on him. Which competitive game mode gives epic emblem chests in the guild? I don't know where those come from. Yeah, I believe it's the Nightmare Corridor. You also get them randomly within the guild. So you get them every day. There's a couple different places. Like even here, we can collect this chest. Oh, this reset. You can get them out of the fortune chests in here. You can also pick them up out of the bounty board. Do you get the chests right here? You get 2 of the chests every single day. I mean, 2 a day, which is pretty good. You're getting 60 a month. But there's not a lot of places where we get these. And honestly, the 2 big things is getting those epic chests and then getting the arcane staffs. These are 2 places where honestly they need to increase the ability to get arcane staffs. Even thinking of my free to play account, I get 10 staffs every single week, and that's it. If you're not buying them out of the shop, if you're not getting them out of the store, you don't have a chance to pull any of these. Again, if you're not purchasing them, you're just going to sit with essentially what you have, and you don't have the ability to get more. There's not really many game modes at all that you are getting any arcane staffs. They need to add them to the weeklies, or they need to add them to AFK rewards. They need to add them to the chest in here. They need to put them in a lot of other places so we have the ability to build out the collections that we need in there. Mistake type of question. Do you think we will get a Celestial hero soon? So that's the rumor. So the rumor is after the Wilders that it's going to be a Celestial. So I don't know. And I think that it quotes, and just remember off the top of my head, it says like, she is the light in the darkness, which usually refers to the Celestials versus the Hippos. So a lot of players are saying that after we get the Wilder, which we know is coming on Tuesday, that the next hero that is going to be released is another Celestial hero, which I'm assuming after that, it is going to be either followed by a Awakened Wilder, or it's going to be followed by an Awakened Graveborn hero. But the question remains of where does the Draconic heroes kind of fall in that iteration? We know the last one we got, which is right here. For the basic Draconic heroes, if they're going to run a rotation of we got the Wilder hero, then we get the Celestial, then we get a Draconic, then we'll get the Awakened Wilder or Graveborn. It's going to be interesting to see. What's going on, Juan? I wish they had yeah, they need arcane staffs. They have to add other places to pick up those arcane staffs, just for the fact, there we go, 1420. Yeah, they need more places for them. They really do. Some are saying a Draconic, which honestly, if it's not a Celestial, it might be a regular Draconic hero. And when we look at historically at what they kind of release, the text around the Draconic heroes, it really doesn't insinuate anything or doesn't point to anything for the heroes we've gotten in the past. So it's going to be kind of hard, because if it is just a Draconic hero versus a Highborn Draconic hero, it's going to be interesting, because usually Dolly's dialogue doesn't really make any sense to anyone until the point of getting the hero and then getting the story of the hero and everything else. Again, that's going to be pretty interesting. Yeah, as long as they don't do another Highborn, 1000% agree, because it took me months and months and months to build Leviathan. I do not need another Highborn Draconic hero, but I'm excited, guys, that we have her done, fully engraved. She's got the plus 40 signature item. We have the 9 of 9 furniture now, which gives us the ability right here. Perfect strategy buff is active. Normal attacks and active skills are enchanted by 80%. So another hero kind of goes on the shelf, because I'm not going to build her any further. Just got to focus on getting the engraving mats. This again, so we got what, 1153. We need 4,500 to build him. We're just going to continue building with the Poke coins, but honestly, Skriath is going to be one that needs to be built. Can you show us your Mauler formations in the tower? The Mauler formations, and honestly, when you go through here, it's really tough. 8 more floors in here. This is why I say, look at this, guys. Right there is more of our cards. We get some more emblems right there. 4,000, so that's going to be more levels. Let's go ahead and exit this. So when it comes to the Maulers, it's a very big struggle because when you look at one, they don't have a lot of support heroes. And let me just grab a formation in here. They don't have a lot of strong support heroes, and they really lack damage. That is the other problem that we see in here is when you look bigger picture where Brutus is a monster. For a majority of players, will not and do not have Brutus built, or it might even be easier to go out here. Because when you look in here, really damage dealers, thinking kind of bigger picture, who are the damage dealers in here who are effectively going to be able to go through the tower if, like normal players, do not have all of the Awakened heroes built. You have to rely on heroes like Kren. Kren, for an incredible amount of time, was absolutely broken in the towers. A lot of crowd control, a lot of damage. And again, thinking of like Gorin support, we have Naruko in there. Even looking at maybe like a Villanelle, there's a lot of heroes in here that are not going to be super effective because the majority of these formations rely on one damage dealer. They're limited to the crowd control that they can do, which again kind of stinks kind of on the build, but they're very limited with the crowd control that they do within here, and they lack support. So historically, over the last 6 years, the Wilder Tower, or excuse me, the Mauler Tower has been the #1 most difficult tower for every player to go through, period. Even having some of the heroes built, even having some of them built out pretty high, there's a big RNG factor in here, and it is incredibly hard to make progression. Even here, thinking of the damage, we have the Fox Fatale in here, which is doing the Mesmerize effect, which is doing the crowd control. So this team essentially is attacking and killing themselves. Even though we have Skriath in here, they are doing this almost to themselves, just for the fact that, and of course it kicks us out, but just to the fact of they are attacking themselves because we don't have a lot of heroes. Also with most players is you're not going to have a lot of older heroes built. So that is kind of the other issue that we have is when you look at like a Scrag or a Granite, a Nemitsu, a lot of these older heroes, a majority of players are not going to have built and do not have built. Even there's a defeat on that one. But like I was saying, a lot of older, or excuse me, a lot of newer players will not have these heroes built at all. And I don't recommend building them because it's so one-off with what they do and how they work. When you start getting to 3 towers or 3 teams, it's incredibly difficult because you don't have most of them built. It is very, very hard to go through the Mauler Tower. And again, this is the RNG factor that we have in here. Even looking at some of these where using like the original version of Entendre, she requires a very, very big build to work. And again, most players, the original version of Entendre, they're not going to come in, they're not going to build. Even looking at Asta, even looking at like the original version of Skriath or Kren, these are specific heroes that are only going to be built if you're building them for the tower and nothing else. It's hard, which is, it's tough. Gorin is extremely powerful in the Mauler Tower. Yeah, but you have to have someone to do the damage. Gorin, I know the utility-wise, even looking in here, this again is a battle. Let's look where the damage came from. Boom. So 847, 991, 1.2 trillion from the original, or excuse me, the Awakened version of Brutus. Brutus still just a monster when it comes to crowd control. Even this day and age, even years and years later, still just a monster when it comes to crowd control. Alvida or Sung to 60, who's a better investment? I would do Sung. If you're picking between those, as much as I like Alvida, I feel like not going to have a crazy amount of utility. Sung doesn't really need it either. But again, Alvida is one that both of them really don't need the 60 at all. I I don't know. I mean, you could do Sun Jin Woo, and again, I would do Sun Jin Woo over Alvida, just for the fact that Alvida, again, not going to have a crazy utility. Look at that, 1.57 from our support there with Goran, and then 2 trillion damage with Sophia, which again, you got to have the Awakened Heroes built if you want to see the damage, if you want to do the damage. It's going to take a while. And again, when it comes to Maulers, guys, they're not a priority. They're not a priority at all, which is very unfortunate. Very, very difficult, which I'm thinking right now, I don't think I rebuilt my tree. I think my tank tree is still at 0. I'm going to have to look after this battle. That can make a big difference, but I think the tank tree is at 0. Yeah, so we got the victory on that one. Tank tree is at 0. I was literally playing around with the stupid that I hate with the Orthos cheese. But look at that, 1.92 trillion damage, even out damaging Skriath, which I know we're missing some of his abilities, but that is what the new support Mauler is doing. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, pretty impressive with the build on this, finishing out another floor. And again, this is the tower that I hate. So funny, but I love it. I mean, everyone has their favorites, right? Yeah, some of them, yeah. The Mauler build, I used to run faction accounts years ago, which is kind of crazy. How does the Orthos cheese work? Oh boy, you're opening the can of worms of the Orthos cheese. So Orthos actually, it's the combination of Liberta and how they work together is the problem. Is when you look in here, I think it's this formation. So here's the Orthos cheese. So essentially what has to happen is 2 things within here. Is Liberta has to link with Orthos, meaning Orthos has to have the lowest HP to link. If you know traditionally, right here with Nox, Nox is one that has a very, very low HP, a very low base HP, which is the reason why you can see Nox right here is empty. He is not wearing any gear. We don't want higher HP. We don't want anything. Orthos has to have the lowest HP to get the link that is provided right here from Liberta, meaning that, and also when Orthos ults, Liberta is still going to be able to move. Now, if it's linked to someone else, it doesn't work in the same methodology, and it doesn't work. So let's slow this down, and I'll show you kind of what I mean. So when they come out, you'll see Liberta will make a link. The link has to go to Orthos. So right here's Orthos, linked to Orthos. If it doesn't go to Orthos, if it goes to Nox, you're not going to get as much damage out of Liberta because of that linking ability. And you'll see he'll continue creating this link over and over and over again. And right there, the link is tied to Orthos, which is the reason why Orthos, if you keep it built within the Elder Tree, Orthos will have too many HP. If Orthos's HP is too high, the link will actually go to Nox instead of Orthos, meaning it's not going to work. Now you'll notice that every time that Orthos does his ultimate ability, which Liberta is feeding Orthos the energy to do it, time does not move. So it's, yeah, it's that is the way that it works. And the reason is for the time stop. So you'll see right here, we're at 118 and it's feeding Orthos energy fast enough that you're only getting 1 second off the clock, even though you can see everything else is going off of battle or going on with the battle. This is not moving. The clock is not moving because Orthos continues to ult. There's only 1 second downtime between Orthos ulting and not ulting, which again is kind of the built-in delay of AFK Arena. So, but to get it to work, you can see even here, all of the gear was slipped or ripped off of Laios because Laios, and they have to keep it with how and Orthos is going to get the link. It's silly. It's such a broken formation. I don't like how it works, but it's silly how it works. Even here, when you think about the chest gear, this is the one with the highest HP. So even here on Palmer, they took off the chest gear. And then when you go back to the stats, here they kept on. You can see right here, the Elder Tree is at 276. Because they left the Elder Tree on, they had to screw with all of the gear, including the exclusive item right there. You can see, which, did they have a SI0 right here? But a lot of people will take off the artifacts or take off the gear or add more gear, and you have to mess with this formation to get this to work, to get with the time. And it's the exact same issue that we see up here with the Cursed Realm, is that Orthos cheese. It is the same way and the same methodology on how that has to work. Going in here and again, messing with all of, which I think there's Liberta, and they might not run it this time, but essentially the Orthos combination, it's the way that it works. And I hate it. I hate it because you have to reset all that stuff. And then after you do it, you have to remember to come back in here and add in my 255 levels. Because if I try to do another game mode where I don't need the Orthos to work, let's say like the Treasure Scramble, I'm not going to have my tank tree built for the Treasure Scramble, and I'm going to get wrecked in there because I don't have it built. So traditionally, I'll go in there, I'll reset it, I'll get the Orthos cheese to work, I'll run it probably 10 or 15 times. Then I hop back into the Elder Tree and I go ahead and level it all up for the rest of every single game mode. And as you can see, it does take a little bit. There's no way to just level it up to a certain ability. But right there adds a massive, massive percentage with all of the heroes. And essentially, that's how the Orthos cheese works, or the Liberta cheese, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's just an absolute pain in the butt on how it works and really the build behind it. But I'm going to go ahead, guys. I'm going to set up the King's Tower. I'm going to let it run in here and set a formation. I'm going to let it run for a while. He only needs the 3 furniture to work, right? Yes, the 3 furniture does work, but I believe there is, I think the 9 of 9 furniture for Orthos might be required, because in here, ally haste is increased by 35% while moving during time suspension. So 9 of 9 furniture is going to be important because this 35 haste is going to go on Liberta, because Liberta is the one moving when time suspension happens. So I would put and do recommend the 9 of 9 furniture because he needs the haste to keep that down to the 1 second. Does it work without Liberta? It does, but not the same way. Not really, because there's no one feeding him energy. That's the big point, is if you don't have Liberta in there, Liberta, that link with Liberta is what is feeding him energy to ult on that 1 second cooldown. If no one is in there feeding him energy, it is not going to link the same way. It's not going to work on that 1 second cycle, because he's not getting the energy. His energy bar is not full by the time the time suspension ends. It doesn't work the same way. It won't work unless there's someone there feeding him energy, which again is part of the problem when you get in kind of a broken loop within there. How about him and Rosline? I mean, it'll work twice. And then you either need him getting more energy or Rosline getting more energy. You have to get away, and you have to have a way to fill his energy before the time suspension ends. If you fill the energy before time suspension ends, it will ult again and again and again with the time suspension, like we've seen in that never-ending loop. Again, if you do not have it built in there, it won't. What are some stable teams in the high-end campaign? Honestly, when you look at the high-end campaign, even where we are now, the Awakened version of Belinda works super, super well in there. Envy will work. Athalia works in there. Even looking at the Mahira comp still works. I think this one's probably the Envy comp, which it is. Thoren cheese still works. If you don't want to use the cheese, a lot of players will just over level. Even looking here, 1, 4, 4, 6 trillion in here. You can see right there, level 12, 10. So 110 levels higher than I am. But you can see Iran comp in here running. And then here is Astrelda. These are new comps, just way, way over leveled. There is Envy, there is Liberta, and there is Belinda. So very, very similar when it comes to the comps themselves and the way that they're played. Again, you can kind of either build the heroes out, or you can over level for campaign formations. One or the other are going to work. What other cheeses are there? Well, honestly, there's the Orthos, there's Mahira, and there's Thoren, and that's it. Thoren's the other cheese with the retaliation ability, and Mahira is another one very similar to what we just talked about with Orthos. When you look at the Mahira cheese, this is another one where when you look, I believe this one, Liberta will feed energy to Mahira. And Mahira will spam that mesmerize ability above and above or again and again and again. So instead of using Orthos in here, it uses Mahira for that mesmerize ability. Mahira is not very strong. She is a very, very old hero when you look at her. So the link goes to her, feeding her and allowing her to continuously spam the mesmerize ability. Oh yeah, the Lucretia cheese, that was meta. That doesn't exist anymore though. But yeah, those other 3 cheeses will work incredibly well. All right, guys, so we're a little bit over on time. I'm definitely going to push through and I'm going to let this tower run. I got to go out. I got to do some shopping. I'm hoping to go through here. And what we're farming is right here, guys. If the next hero is a Celestial, I'm going to farm all of these Stargazer Scrolls in here. And we do this for all of the towers on a regular basis. So I'll hop down here. I usually pick one hero that is right around my level. There's 1032. Here's Poro, 1022. Even here's 1066. I'm right around there. I think I'm at 1090. So go ahead, we'll auto battle this. I'm literally just going to let this run. Hopefully, and I know we can get through a couple of stages, check in every 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes on where they're doing, how well the formation's going through, if I have to make some adjustments, but farming out of here on a regular basis. So, all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's stream. Thank you guys for joining me. It's always awesome to be able to talk to you guys and go through AFK Arena in the entirety. Such a very cool game. We have a lot of stuff that's coming. New Wilder is coming. The Golden Frontier is coming. The Abyssal Expedition is coming. In addition to all of that, we have the Awakened Beasts that are coming. And maybe there's going to be some more Awakened Heroes that are coming this year. All right, guys. So again, that is going to do it for our Sunday stream. Thank you guys for joining me. All the love and support and everything with AFK Arena. Very, very cool to see. So guys, again, thank you guys for joining me. And as always, thank you guys for watching.